Hey friends, it's time for a library haul and a book haul for October. However, there's not much. So I'm going to combine them all in this one video, talk to you a little bit about why they've come into my house and what I hope to, or how fast I hope to read them, I guess is the best way to put it. So from the library, I still have a number of the books that I got out in September. And I will link that video below for the September library haul. I didn't read many. I will also link my September wrap up because I read two big chunker of books off of my physical TBR, and so library books didn't really get the focus. I did read one for Shorty September. That was mainly because the book needed to go back. I had no renewals and I was really interested in it, and you can watch the wrap up to see what I thought of it. So this first book is a book that I saw in a bookstore. I think it was Barnes and Noble. Our Barnes and Noble, there's not really one that's close to me, which is a great for the independent bookstores because in Atlanta we have really a pretty thriving independent bookstore network, and there's several around me that have been there and been there for decades. The only Barnes and Noble that we had closed during the pandemic. So I don't go to Barnes and Noble very often. I did go to see some family that had come into town in another town north of me, and they had a Barnes and Noble. So I decided just to go in because I used to love going and just walking around Barnes and Noble with a cup of coffee. My mom and my sister used to, that was like our outing. We would just browse and then come together at the end. And usually mom would buy us books. But while I was there, that long story about Barnes and Noble in Atlanta, to talk about this book that I saw there. This is called Toxic by Sarah Dittum. Women, Fame, and the Tabloid 2000s. I started reading it while I was at the bookstore. Do y'all ever do that? I was reading the first page to see kind of what it was about. And there's just a lot of things that I lived through during the 90s and 2000s that is just brought out by this. It's a scathing re-examination of the lives of 9 female celebrities in the 2000s. Brittany, Paris, Lindsay, Aaliyah, Janet, Amy, Kim, China, and Jen. And then just kind of the exploitive culture that they dealt with while trying to live their dreams. So I was curious. I didn't buy it, obviously. I got it from the library, so we'll see what that's about. Then I also got The Last Session by Julia Bartz. I've gotten this out many times. I've started it too. It is a NetGalley book for me, and I'm really focused on getting some NetGalley books done. So there was a physical copy that was in stock at the library, so I went ahead and got that one. And then a couple of years ago, in October, I read The Darkling Wood by Emma Carroll and really liked it. So I requested 2 of her books. I think I've gotten these out before from the library, but wasn't able to get to them. I have Strange Star, which is a really cool cover. This is on a stormy summer evening. Lord Byron is hosting a party. Oh, I do remember that I did get this out, and I've read it to you before. So it's Lord Byron, Mary, and Percy Shelley are having a dinner party, and it just sounds really fun, a little spooky, as Emma Carroll is, if you've ever read her. And then the other one I know I've gotten out before because I've had this cover out. This is The Little Match Girl Strikes Back, Emma Carroll and Lauren Child. Birdie works hard to help feed her family, selling matches on the street of Victorian London. So would this count for Victober too, if it's in Victoria, London? I don't know. After an incident leaves her with only 3 matches left, the magical strike of each one sends her tumbling into visions of a brighter, more hopeful future. Realizing she has the power to change her own fortune, Britty, not Birdie, Britty, leads the match factory workers on a strike, achieving something remarkable through unity and courage. Lauren Childs is the illustrator, which it looks like we've got some good illustrations to go along with that. So looking forward to that one. And y'all, that's my library haul. 4 books. I mean, like I said, I still have a lot out from the September library haul. And then for the books that I've bought or acquired that have come into my home, there's 3. Yes, 3. That's it. So the first one I got at a thrift store the other day. There was more than one book that I was interested in, but I was good and I put them back. Progress. But I did get Agatha Christie, The Mousetrap and Other Plays. I need to read a play for a book challenge I'm doing. Melinda at A Web of Stories has been doing this yearly book challenge. And I need to read a play. I wanted to read one that I hadn't read before. And when I saw this, I knew I would read an Agatha Christie play because it's Agatha Christie. And then I also, out of a little free library, got The Winners by Frederick Bachman. This is chunky. I've never read Frederick Bachman before, but everybody really loves him. And so I'm thinking maybe I will love him. Do I want to? It's like a 670-page book, so we'll see. Over the course of 2 weeks, everything in Beartown will change. That's what I was thinking of. I think I need to read Beartown first, right? Y'all tell me in the comments if you've read kind of this trilogy. Do I need to read Beartown first? Because I feel like I've heard that it's a series, but it's not, or it's companion novels, maybe. So Maya Anderson and Benji Ovich, 2 young people who left in search of a life far from the forest town, come home and joyfully reunite with their closest childhood friends. There is a sense of optimism and purpose in the town, embodied in the impressive new ice rink that has been built down by the lake. Seemingly overnight, the destruction caused by a ferocious late summer storm reignites the old rivalry between Beartown and the neighboring town of Head, a rivalry that has always been fought through their ice hockey teams. It sounds like I do need to read Beartown first. So this will hang out in my house until I probably find Beartown at a thrift store or a free little library. I don't own that one yet. And then the last book I got, I actually went to an author talk at the book festival that's in my town, or in the town next to me actually. And I did vlog some of it, so I'll have a vlog coming up on my channel in a couple of days. I think the vlog will be ready. And that is, the speaker talk was Jen Hatmaker for her new memoir, Awake. Jen Hatmaker, from what I understand, because I didn't really follow her much at all in the past, she was, or used to be a like a Christian living type author, and like living the Christian life, Christian wife, things like that. And then her marriage fell apart and she went through a divorce. This memoir is written during about that time, and she read parts of it there. The discussion was with Barbara Brown Taylor. I always forget all of her names. So I knew that I wanted to go to the author talk. I wanted to hear Jen Hatmaker and Barbara Brown Taylor. It was very spiritual for me in a way. The talk, there were a few men there, but it was mostly women. The whole audience was women, and it was women of all ages, and just talking about the expectations of women, be they Christian or not. Jen comes from a Christian perspective, but I think that there is a lot to relate to, even if you're not Christian, and what they were talking about. And just that expectations of how to be a good wife, how to be a good mother, how to, you know, be a good woman in the world, and what the expectations are for you, and kind of how that can mask or even enable some challenging dynamics in relationships. I just really enjoyed Jen Hatmaker is a very funny lady, and just her authenticness that she is sharing. I haven't read it yet. I hope to. I really want to read it this month. It's told in sort of vignettes. And I think, some of what she was saying, I felt like the vignettes may uh, it may feel choppy, but at the same time, when you're dealing with the grief of losing a relationship that you thought would take you through the rest of your life, I imagine that would feel choppy. One day you're okay, one day you're focused on your kids, one day you're in a pit of despair at everything that's gone. So I really enjoyed it. I did. So I really enjoyed her talk. And like I said, I want to read this as soon as possible. Very beautiful cover. Editing Michelle here. So I ended up, my microphone died, so I can see myself talking in the video. There's no sound. So the rest of the video basically says, thank you so much for being here. I hope you all are doing well. If you are interested in seeing the vlog from the Jen Hatmaker author event, find out how or if or when I get to these books, consider subscribing, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye.